Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls closed beta just wrapped up, and honestly, it's far from perfect. But it's better than I expected, and there's something here worth paying attention to. Welcome back and welcome in if you're new. I'm Explorer, a cinematic storyteller exploring and reviewing games through emotion, atmosphere, and character, not just the game mechanics. Today, we're looking at Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. It's a 4v4 fighter developed by Arc System Works and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. And thank you so much for Marvel and Sony for hosting and inviting me to participate in the closed beta. The first thing that hit me wasn't the gameplay, it was the scene setting. Marvel Tokon feels like a blend of anime-inspired combat and Marvel's iconic dramatic character energy. Think Japanese style, Disney cinematics, and surprisingly light-hearted in the right places. And even though the mechanics can be a lot to digest for newcomers, it never feels overwhelming. The onboarding feels approachable, even if you're not someone who lives in the fighting game genre. The character design feels like reimagined versions of heroes we already know, especially if you played Marvel Rivals or other stylized Marvel titles. It's almost like these characters stepped out of an alternative Marvel anime universe. Their designs have personality, uniqueness, and enough familiarity to keep Marvel fans hooked. Every idle animation, every pose, it all feels intentional, like it's telling you who they are before the match even begins. Gameplay-wise, Marvel Tokon leads into a fast-paced 4v4 fighting system. It's overwhelming at first, but with practice, it becomes intuitive, and mastering it will definitely take some time. The game is built around team synergy, so becoming comfortable with your roster is your first real challenge. Then layering in timing windows, energy management, spacing, and combos, all the familiar pieces of a modern-day fighting game. But what surprised me the most was how emotionally impactful the gameplay feels. You connect to your characters fast. So for instance, Captain America and Iron Man's verbal sparring had me smiling. And I instantly loved Storm and she became my main. And whenever I saw a Ghost Rider player on the other side, I'd get excited because learning his movement patterns gave me a real advantage and I could see the progression take place. Now, I did mention that the game isn't perfect, so I do have some concerns and some positive notes, but I also want to prefix this by saying that this is a closed beta and a lot can change between now and when the game eventually launches. But let's start with positives. So, character design and animation, they strike a great balance between uniqueness and familiarity. Storm's design in particular is chef's kiss. It's exactly what I expected and exactly what I wanted. There are also lots of mechanics to learn, but nothing felt overly complex that it would scare off newcomers, especially for someone like me who's not used to fighting games. For a beta, the animations are also polished and surprisingly smooth. They've been working on this for a while and you can tell. Now, some of my concerns. Ping matters. Well, of course it does, but it matters a lot with Marvel Tokon. Anything under 200 feels fine. 200 to 300 is playable, but there's a noticeable lag. And anything above 300 is chaos and unplayable. I really hope matchmaking avoids high-ping opponents at launch. And by avoid, I mean it does not let you match with them at all. It is unplayable. And then combat depth may end up depending very heavily on gimmicks such as character unlocks and remembering specific tag team combos so you can actually use the other characters in your roster. Because if you don't remember the combos or how to call onto them, you're basically just controlling the one player and you've got 3 sidekicks cheering you on. I'm also not a fan of seeing the other player's character switch callouts mid-match. It's distracting, confusing, and sometimes really made me lose track of who I was controlling. I went into this beta with zero expectations, and I walked away pleasantly surprised. Yes, the game is polished, yes, the mechanics need refining, but the atmosphere is there. The heart is there and it manages to feel both stylish and learnable. It has a vibe, a cinematic rhythm, a visual soul, and it generally feels like Marvel stepped into an anime art book and said, let's fight. So no, it's not perfect, but it is interesting, and in a sea of fighters with insane skills gap, interesting really matters. And that's all for me. I'm Explorer and I'll be diving deeper as updates roll out, but for now, these are my first impressions of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. If you want more cinematic, emotionally driven reviews like this, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.